For the Love of Rugby, brought to you by Black Car. For those who ruck, maul, and never back down. Oh, Coley, we got a special guest, mate. You know how we love it on this show. The access we're able to pull strings, pull in favours. And we got none other than the guy that's been, safe to say, tearing down trees in an England shirt. When you think of some line breaks, try assists, and even a little Sonny Bill Williams out the back door, lads, read me. Know what I mean? That could have been a try. I'm delighted. Fresh from York, ready for Italy, and a big finish for the next 2 weeks. It is the one and only Ollie Lawrence. Ollie, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, doing well, thank you. Not too bad. Lovely weather down in Bath today. So yeah, lovely Sunday. Can't wait to chat a bit of code with you boys.
You've actually had to change your camera angle because of the lighting, but the view you have out the back of your palace is unbelievable. Like, is that part of, was that one of the reasons to stay at Bath, just because of the rolling countryside you got in the background there?
I mean, yeah, partly. I think, I moved out a bit more into the countryside about April of last year. And yeah, we're loving it here. It's pretty chilled. Good little community. Little village called Wellow, just south of Bath. Yeah, loving it so far.
Not jealous at all. So I've got a burning question. I've been reading the media on my rounds this week, in between double sessions at the club. I noticed Genge came out, and so he basically, there was a question I think about England's attack, and Genge sort of said he didn't appreciate that certain sort of ex-pros, long retired and recently retired, criticised England's attack. Do you have any idea who was talking about there? You know, especially the recently retired blokes.
I haven't actually asked him. I'll have to pick his brains on that going into camp. But yeah, I think he did mention it on the bus when we asked him, and he was kind of just like, he said he batted it down and just went like, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. And I think it's one of those really where, like I said, in the autumns we played some really good rugby at times, and it looked like we were like moving forward and then narrowly losing, and then now we're narrowly winning, but we're not exactly playing our best rugby. And I think we know that as well. Like, we missed plenty of opportunities against Scotland, and then in that France game, a lot of people have looked at it and been like, oh well, they didn't score. They missed like 3 basically sitters which would have changed like the game. But I think from our perspective, we're wanting to win, and I think at test level, that is the most important thing. And I think we felt like a bit of heat, and I think he just wanted to voice his opinions on it. And yeah, you know what Genji's like if he's got an opinion, he's gonna put it out there. He's not, I guess, afraid to shine away from the media. Yeah,
that's Genji. When you're on the bus, did you sort of like, I mean, I've had this conversation before on the bus, but did you ever like talk about the rugby pundits and sort of put them in, I don't know, tiers, or rank them in order of, like, you know, the good ones, the defends England attack by themselves, one bloke out there, and then, you know, others, like, where's Ben Young sit on that list of disliked players right now?
Oh, hang on a minute. I don't want to make you embarrassed or feel awkward, mate. So I'll answer this. Coley, like, come on, we've got to bed him in. You know what I mean? He's only just arrived on the show. We can't be firing questions like this at him. So I'll answer it because I already know the answer. And that is, I am incredibly well respected as a pundit already. My views are so well received to the point where I'm pretty sure most national coaches listen to this show, pick out key bits of information, and then act upon it the following week. So I wouldn't be surprised if England start chucking it around against Italy. And, you know, there I am, literally saying how delighted I am England won. But I'm saying they can layer on the attack. We're ready for the next stage. England team's ready for it. Let the backs unleash. Let them do their thing. And, I just have no doubt. And like I say, I don't want to embarrass you, mate. And I'm happy to take full responsibility that I am so incredibly respected within that group. And as a pundit, as a view, and I've been asked a number of times to come into camp and give my views. I can't. I'm too busy doing this. And that is why downloads are a record high, because even the coaches are tuning in. They want to know my thoughts and they want to relay it back to the team to improve England. But in all seriousness, Coley's not actually retired yet, so that rules you out. And I spoke to Genji at the weekend. So I'm all good. He didn't mention it. I didn't mention it. And being a great mate he is, he would have told me straight if it was me. And it wasn't. So there we go. Question answered. Done it for you all. My views are very important. Right, enough about me. Take us into the Calcutta Cup celebrations, Ol. Was it joy? Was it relief? How were you feeling? Do you have a drink out of the cup? Did you have photos with it? How did it all go down? What was the mood? Take us in the sheds.
I think, well, from a personal standpoint, I'd say there's definitely a lot of relief. I'd been 0-3 against them, maybe even 0-4. And I think we spoke about it in the week of how we wanted to make sure that the Calcutta Cup was staying in London. And I think the main thing for us was we were happy and buzzing, like to see Maro walking up the steps to go obviously get the trophy and then come back down with the lads. It was a nice feeling, and it's always cool to touch a bit of silverware. Like obviously in the grand scheme of things, like that's not the main objective for us, the Six Nations, but it was another step in the right direction. But I think I came back into the changing room and it was a bit of a mixed feeling. It was a mixed bag of, right, we've managed to win that game. We've won it ugly, but at the same time, I think instantly we all knew that we probably didn't go out there and put our best foot forward in the way that we attacked. And I guess if you look at it in the perspective of Finn missed 3 out of 3 kicks, like if one of those goes over, then the headlines are a lot different. And probably our perspective maybe going into the last 2 games would be different. But on the whole, I think we were buzzing. We were happy to, like I said, have the trophy, have some photos in the change room, a couple of beers out of it, and then had a few drinks afterwards with the lads, which was quite nice. And then obviously heading into this Fallow week, it probably maybe lifted a bit of weight off the shoulders, having won the last 2 against 2 opponents that we hadn't been able to beat for the last few years. So yeah, I think a mixture of relief and also kind of excitement, knowing that we'd managed to win ugly, which is something that we'd struggled to do over the last probably 18 months.
Absolutely, mate. Never shun a victory over Scotland. But I've got to ask you, right? Tiny Temper was in the change rooms.
Yeah.
Are you too young to know who he is? I've met him once, right? And this is way back, doing an appearance. And he was the best smelling man I've ever come across. I mean, he smelled incredible. The guy was like lathered in cocoa butter and like all sorts of like potions and like sprays. And like, I just remember it. I was just like, wow. Like, I thought I smelled all right, but this guy is like, whew. It's like walking through the duty free in a airport, but even better. How was he?
Yeah, no, he was cool. I actually only got to catch him at the end because I had to do media, and then I popped into the other change room to see Finn and Duan and a few of the boys. But I caught him as he came in. But yeah, when he walked past me, as you just come into the home changing room, I did get the little whiff of his fragrance, and I was like, fair play.
Mate, I'm glad his standards haven't dropped, and he still smells magnificent. I think I met him about 10 years ago, and he's still smelling great. Good on him.
Do you reckon he appreciated the changing room smell? A man that probably, loves his own smell. He probably, has a nose for fragrance, and then walking into the changing room afterwards.
A mixture of sweat, chicken goujons and sushi.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's always when someone comes in the change rooms and then one of the lads is like come out of the showers and they're drying up and giving it the full like gym exposure of like one leg up, like really drying certain areas. And they turn around because they're totally oblivious that someone's come in the change room and they're giving the old towel between the old bits and giving the old dry off, whip it around, they meet some sort of celebrity or someone standing there, and it's just like the most it's like genius. It's like cheers for the warning. I blame Hilly again, mate. He's got 3 jobs: eating biscuits, 2-minute warning, and then letting us know if someone's coming in that we need to whip on a pair of shorts quick.
Yeah, exactly. I blame Hilly, and it's definitely someone like Slady that would get caught out doing that probably.
You mentioned there that you popped in the change rooms of Scotland to see some of the lads, of course, you play with. There was a photo of you that sort of went around and did the rounds with you and Finn Russell swapping shirts. I think you got a lot of heat for that. But I suppose just shed a bit of light on that. Like, at the end of the day, your teammates at club level, of course, and throughout the game, you're there to win. But after the game's done, you're back with a teammate and a mate, right?
Yeah, exactly. And like me and Finn are quite similar characters in terms of how we go about like our I guess approach to a game. Like we're both pretty laid back, like pretty chilled. Like he comes out to the warm up, boots undone, eating sweets and just like having a kick at goal, and looks like he's just doing it on a casual Sunday. So I think for us, like I said, we're mates on and off the field. Like as soon as with the whistle goes, we know full well that like we've got a job to do here, and there's no like GAs or anything in that regard. But yeah, as soon as the whistle goes, like we'd spoken a bit in the week, and we hadn't actually swapped jerseys before, and we finished the game. He was like, "Oh, should we swap?" And I was like, "Yeah." And for me, that was a pretty cool moment. Like I said, he came to the club about 1.5 years ago, and I've really gone with him. And it's he's a, like I said, incredible player, and glad to have that jersey and to add to the collection.
The just for listeners, a GA is a gentleman's agreement. It's something that I do on the regular when it comes to contact training within training. I give the old GA call, gentleman's agreement. No one run at me, and if I run at you, please don't hurt me. Nice low tackle. I'll make a grunt, fall to the floor. All that. That's a GA for those who don't know. It's something that doesn't exist in your repertoire when it comes to scrummaging, does it, Coley? The old GA.
I try not to, unless we're playing like the French or Saffers, and it's like, any chance, lads? And they don't understand, so you get told to fuck off. Marla loves it. Marla loves a GA. Marla's like, every time he's like, GA, James like, yeah, all right, mate. And then the fucker will lift you off your feet at one of them if you do go soft. So, yeah, don't trust no one, mate.
Oh, the shirt looked like a nice fit. Not in terms of when I think about when I swapped shirts with Alessandro Tuolangi. You can remember, Coley?
I'd love to see a photo of that.
Well, it was slightly alarming because my shirt was quite tight on Alessandro, which made me think, how's that happened? Can you remember that, Coley?
It's always the risk in it, swapping shirts after I can. I remember swapping shirts. I swapped shirts with after Samoa one time, and then the lads just rinsed me. I was like, they're like, you're the whitest Samoan in the world. I'm like, well, I'm obviously not Samoan, but yeah, I look ridiculous, but I can't walk around topless, can I? So it's either put on a Samoan shirt and everyone laugh at me, or walk around topless and everyone laugh at me. So I'll cover my dignity, thanks, lads.
There was one game, can you remember, Coley? I don't think if you were involved at this point with England, but we played Wales away. And then Mako came round the corner after the game, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes later, and he'd swapped his entire kit with Toby Faletau. Shorts, socks, and top. He was like...
No way.
He's wearing the fucking socks, wasn't he?
Full kit. Comes to change after, everyone's having a beer. And he's full kit, mate. Socks, shorts, like proper John Terry, mate. Wales, like full kit outfit, full change. It was fucking genius.
Couldn't think of anything like semi more disgusting than putting on another man's socks after he's like played in them for 8 hours. Just like,
it's bad enough.
Just carry him round. Oh, yeah.
But the socks and shorts, Mac went full on. Someone's got to have a picture of that. I've got to get it for a social clip. I'm going to try and get hold of that photo. I've got to.
I was hoping he was going to do it at the change room, swap shirts, and then he did it on the field, and then he doesn't care about his darb at all. And I was looking at the video afterwards, and I was thinking, oh God, he's swapping it here. And then I was like, in my head, I was like, do I put this jersey on? And then I put it on for the photo. And then I'd remembered, like, I was like walking around. I was like, oh yeah, probably shouldn't be wearing this around the stadium. So I took it off, and then I just carried it around with me.
No, I did. We talked about the other day, didn't we, Cole? I did one with Reece Webb once. I swapped. It was baggy around the guns though, so. But I'm all natural. But yeah, the same sort of thing. And I got in a huddle wearing a Welsh shirt, and all the lads staring at me. I was like, yeah, I could take it off, but then I've got to get the darb out.
I went with Australia in the autumn after the game. Angus Bell came up to me because we swapped shirts. So I couldn't say no. And it's like, yeah, do it. And then like, we've lost. Like, you walk around the field like, sort of, I can't really wave wearing an Australia shirt. Then you walk back into the change room and it's like, yeah, we've just lost to Australia at home. And I'm wearing an Australian shirt. So it's kind of like, I'm just going to quietly remove this as quickly as possible and just put it on the pile. Just shit yourself, don't you?
I'm going to put you on the spot here, Ol. Who's the best shirt swap you got? Which one do you go like, that's a mint swap, that one?
That's a good question. Probably, for me, between either Finn's on the weekend or maybe Rico Arne. I swapped with him in the autumn, which was quite cool. Because obviously growing up, watching those boys was pretty cool. But actually, away from international, last year in the semi-final, me and Big Chiefy, we swapped shirts after the semi-final Bath v Sale. And that was quite cool because I've never ever played against him my whole career, and that was my first game and the last game we'd play against each other. So that was pretty special. He was basically my hero and idol growing up. So to play against him and then swap shirts, even though it wasn't on international front, was pretty cool.
Lovely. So a big swap with Manu Tuolangi. That's the chief, which Ollie's referring to. Decent swaps there, mate. Talking of centres, let's have a little deep dive into your centre partnership with Henry Slade, of course. How's that going, mate? Is it the more you play? I've worked out, actually, you've played 20 tests together, which is a pretty decent amount, isn't it?
Yeah, that is. I didn't realise it was that high.
How have you found that combination? Like, have you finally found a groove with each other? How long do you think a centre partnership takes to really sort of figure each other out?
Yeah, it's a good question, that. It's something that we've obviously been working on a lot over the last few years. I think I didn't realise it was 20 games we played together, but I think in a row we've played like maybe 14 or 15 games together now, and I think it's like the second highest amount of centreship centre partnership games in a row. I think it's just maybe Carling and Gus Scott that were together. That might be more. And I was like, to be fair, we're probably going to have to start finding our groove a bit more here. And yeah, especially like Kev was big on it in the autumns, just like challenging us to make sure that we were continuing to work on that relationship and trying to kind of, I guess, like supplement each other. Obviously Slady's like got a brilliant ball playing ability, great left boot, and I'm really good in those wide channels. And I guess can sometimes be used more front door focus, and sometimes when I'm in the wider channels, like making those outside breaks. But I don't think there's any amount of time that it can take really. Like for some people, you might think and be like, oh, it should only take maybe like one season or one campaign. But when you only play together and come together every few months, and then you're together for 8 weeks, and then you go off to your clubs and play completely different styles of rugby, sometimes it can be quite hard to get on the same page. But we're working together, and I think we've definitely got a better balance, and especially in defence, we're slowly like figuring ourselves a bit more. So we know when one of us has got a split in the centre, when the centres are stuck on one side of the field. Just the small things like that, which can make a massive difference to the whole team. And I think we're getting there. I think it's working well for us. And like I said, we're continuing to keep pushing the boundaries with it, and hopefully we can create a nice little partnership for the future.
If people talk about centre partnerships, what do you find is the hardest thing to? Is it defensively working together, or is it sort of in attack, getting the time off each other and communicate? What do you think finds the hardest sort of part of that partnership?
I think there's probably two ends of the spectrum. I say in attack, it's more feel, and it's more understanding when, like, their cues of when they're going to do something. So when they're going to snap at the line, or when they're going to go on an overs. And then defense, I think, is more trust. I think it's trusting that you know that guy's he's going to be able to double read. So get off the lead line, get onto the guy out the back, and having that patience and trust to know that you're going to get there. So I think, yeah, in those two situations, I think it's completely different. I think attack is definitely more feel, like momentum, like knowing when to run a real hard line, when to hold your feet a bit more. And then defense is a lot more to do with trust and understanding, and kind of getting that better relationship in that sense.
Oh, in the autumn at one of the games, you guys swapped. You went from 13 to 12 and he went from 12 to 13. Did you actually, or was it just like, and what was the theory behind that?
So basically, I think we looked at like our attack from the first few games, and we said that obviously what I'd been doing well in the league and stuff was being dangerous in those outside channels. And I think Wiggy and Steve and Kevin and had spoken to us both and kind of been like, oh, well, how can we get our best ball players in the right areas, and how can we get our best attacking threats in the right areas? And that slight change, 12-13, just meant that my roles off of kick return meant that I was going straight to the edge instead of going to the midfield. So Slady would basically work to the midfield and I'd work to the edge. And then on the back of that, I'd said, I'd like to wear the 13 jersey if I'm going to be doing that, because that's where I see myself. And Slady was more than happy to do that. So fair credit to him, really. Like he could have been like, oh no, like that's where he's played his whole career, and kicked him a fuss about it. But he was really understanding, and he got it from my perspective. How going forward, that's where I saw myself and where I wanted to play. Oh,
some of the touches you've had in the first 3 rounds, right, and yourself and Fremo have sort of been our danger men as such. Do you enjoy that responsibility? Like, because, you know, look at some of the touches and some of the creativity you brought to Ireland, France, and even that break just before half time, mate. You whip out the old Sonny Bill. Lads, get on my page. I'm leaving it out there. I've done all the hard work. Just finish it, will you? Back door, razzle dazzle. How much do you love that, mate? Because some people just will like think, oh, you're going to carry and you do all that, but mate, you bring so much more than that. And that's, I suppose, your threat. You can carry and give England that dent, and you've given it for Bath loads of times. But equally, mate, you can outside break, big handoff, make things happen, offload. So how much do you enjoy trying to be that, I suppose, X-factor player, I guess I'm trying to say, that game-changing sort of player? Do you feel responsible to bring that to the team?
Yeah, definitely. I think for me, like, I see that as a huge responsibility for me to get the boys going forward, whether that's through the line or whether that's going around and being in those outside channels. And I love it. I love being, like I said, being able to help the team go forward. And I guess the challenge for me is like, how many times can I do it in a game? Like you just said, then I had some good touches at Ireland and in France and even on the weekend. And then I somehow managed to butcher a simple offload on the try line, which is a bit frustrating. But no, I love it. Like that's where I feel like I thrive, when I've got the license to do what I need to do in the outside channels and in the middle. So I love it. I think Fremo has, like I said, also been playing class in the Six Nations. So yeah, no, it's great. I'm enjoying my rugby. I think the next level for me is how many times can I keep doing it in games, and how much can I keep demanding the ball from the drivers and the 10s and the 12s, and asking them to just get it to me in space, because that's where I feel like I can do my best work.
Oh, I just want to follow up by sort of asking, like, what's the difference between the two Smiths? Because obviously you've had Marcus in the autumn, you've had a lot of time playing with him, mate. Of course, you've played with the likes of George Ford, you played with Owen Farrell, and obviously Finn Smith is there in the moment. What's the difference between the two Smiths?
I think with Finn, I think he likes to play through the players around him. Like, he will be very steady in the way he plays, in terms of, like, he's a bit like, I guess, kind of Fordy in a way, like likes to drive in at the line, likes to play the forwards through, we'll go into the structure of the next phase, and then we'll run some sort of shape, and then he'll play with the centre out the back. And then obviously, like with Marcus, he's also got that ability as well. But I think the one thing Marcus probably has that I don't think anyone, or not many players in world rugby have, is the ability to attack the line and beat defenders. Like, sometimes, like, playing outside him is great, and also one of the hardest things to do as well, because you don't even know what he's going to do at times, because I don't even know if he knows what he's going to do. Like, he might see a half gap, and then he just goes, he'll razzle dazzle, step two people, and then all of a sudden the hole changes from being from being one hole in to 3 holes out. So I think the difference really is the ability to kind of adapt to where they're thinking the space is, and how they're going to get the ball there. They're great. They're both great 10s in itself. And I understand kind of why Steve has gone with Marcus at 15. So you have both of them on the field, because, like I said, Marcus is an X-factor talent, and Finn's kind of coming into his own now in the way he's been playing for Saints over the last few years, and now onto the international stage as well.
Yeah, we've been talking about it, how Finn Smith plays sort of that structured sort of game and patterns and gets people involved. Yeah. And yet Marcus just brings that X factor that I just don't see anyone else can bring. You know, it's very similar really to when I get around the corner and I'm calling Coley around the corner, mate. And he just doesn't know what I'm going to do. But you know what he does? He sucks in defenders, mate. Big ball carrier, genuine threat. He creates holes for me, mate. So I can relate to what you're saying there, mate. The difference between playing that, and Coley certainly can relate to that, can't you, Coley?
And then Len accelerates through that gap, and then hits his top speed after 3 meters, and then starts slowing down. So yeah,
mate, I'm keeping the ball alive. I'm looking for offloads, mate. I'm looking for offloads. Someone else.
Yeah, I felt your pain, Ollie, because I remember Marcus makes when Marcus makes a line break, obviously he's rapid, but you've got the athletic ability to react to what he's doing. And I thought about that. I'm like, it's one of the hardest jobs is when someone makes a line break, is actually, if you're the closest guy in support, is getting there. And I thought about Lenny and him making a line break. And then, me not being the quickest athletically to get there, but neither's he. So it's fine.
It works.
We work well with each other. So
we do work. We're a great combination. In fact, we've got better as we've got older. The more, like, either you have improved your athletic ability, Coley, or it's just the reality of I've come, with all due respect, come down in my movement and we've met somewhere.
Yeah, I didn't have much to lose in the first place. I didn't have anything to lose, so I've just stayed steady. And also I think defenders also think, God, like, these guys aren't going to do anything. And that's why the holes create, mate. Become more deceptive as you get older. They've watched the career, it's like, he's not touching the ball. And it's like, oh, fuck, he has.
Oh, just invest in your body, mate. Make sure you do recovery, mate. Make sure you recover well, mate. Invest in that body, mate. Otherwise 100%. You end up like us two twats. How's rooming with Marcus?
Yeah, no, it's good. It's nice now, like, when you get to that kind of the point where you kind of have enough caps that you guys are always in the same room. Like, me and Marcus are quite similar in our caps, so therefore we've been together now for probably the last 2 years and always room together. And yeah, he's like one of my best mates. We speak so much more now when we're away from camp, and that's probably just down to the fact we've spent so much time in camp. And yeah, it's nice to see him. Sometimes it can be a bit messy, but that doesn't bother me, because, like I said, you have your separate rooms, so it kind of it blends well, and we spend most of our days in each other's back pockets, whether that's on the field or off the field.
Did you hear that, Coley? They got separate rooms, which means these two are in an up-down. Wow.
No, they're side by side, mate. I've seen the. Have you not watched England?
You just said you're in separate rooms?
Side by side.
We do, but we have Wygelia, so we're like right at the ends away. So we have like a door in between our rooms.
I know the one.
Yeah, and then we kind of have like basically our own room, but at the same time, it is kind of like one room. But the other week in the Fowler week, we did have an up down, and we were like, oh, this is nice. This is nice, and we were like, just a little way to go then, just a little way to go.
Mate, the up downs are the way forward, mate. You got to. Whoever's in charge of rooming, you should be in there. You should kick them out.
Eventually. We to be fair, we actually like it. Like we do actually say to Alice now sometimes, we're like, can we make sure we're in Julia? Like I think we just like it as our room now, because we've had it like even since we were like 12. I think it was like maybe like 22 or 23 when I first came in, and then we got to room together, and then from then on, like we always had it. And then I think we moved down to in the 23 Six Nations or 24 Six Nations, 23 Six Nations. And then from then on, we've kind of been basically together in that room, which I like it. I don't mind.
You need a roommate you can be comfortable with.
It makes a huge difference. Even like just the timing of things, like if you're with the back, it makes it a lot easier, because then you're on the same schedule. Whereas if you're with the forward, all of a sudden you're like, oh, why are you going down?
Yeah.
And then you start second guessing yourself as to whether you're going down. You don't want to miss a meeting or something, because the forwards tend to have more meetings than backs.
Yeah, that also used to do me when I was room with 40 at the end. It was like, he'd go down and like about an hour before to sort of like precondition himself and this kind of stuff. And I'd be like, am I missing something? Like I literally rock about 15 minutes before, but then you spend like the next half hour just panicking, like if he's gone down, am I missing? And then you check the schedule and you're like, no, I'm all right. And it's like, well, I'll just check the schedule again. And it's like, oh, I'm fucking bored. There's no one to talk to. So then you end up going down to the training centre and just doing nothing anyway. But yeah, I feel you.
100%.
Does Marcus make you his famous Mat AT? Has he indoctrinated you in that, or is he?
He hasn't yet. He did try. I wouldn't say he tried. He convinced me to give it a go, and I did maybe like a year and a half ago. And I tried it, ball like the cup and everything. And I was like, I tried it for a bit, and I was like, it's not working for me. But he's still on it. He's loving it. Every morning, like the alarm will go off, and then he's out of bed. He'll snooze it, and then from the second snooze, he's like up, kettle's on. He's straight through my room into the bathroom, go and brushes his teeth or has a shower, and then like he gets ready so quickly. Like he stays in bed for as long as he can, and then he'll just get up, gone, and he's out the door quickly. And sometimes I'll ask him to wait for me, because I'll hear him get ready, and then I'll hear like the kettle boiling, and then when the kettle's boiling, it means the mat is almost ready and it's time for him to go. And then he'll go snee, which obviously they call me Ollie, basically this is my nickname, Snee, but he calls me like, he'll go like snee, I'm going down, and I was like, oh yeah, just wait for me, and then I'll just get out of bed, then I'll get ready, and I'll be like, I'll be 5 minutes. Instead of just getting ready when I know he's about to go, I just like try to elongate it, and then he'll have a go at me, and I'm like, bro, just wait, like I'm coming. And then I'll go down, and then I don't even eat breakfast anyway. So then he's like, well, why have you made me wait when you're not even having breakfast, and I actually need to get down to the training centre? So he's had a go at me a couple of times for making him wait, but no, it's fine. It's all good now.
The early psychological wins, mate. 1-0 every morning. Cheers.
Yes, exactly.
Off to a flyer.
Yeah, huge.
You need to drag it out a bit more, just to really sort of annoy him. See how far you can get it to drag it out. See if you can stick a timer on it and be like, 2 hours later, you're still there. Decent half, that. You fancy a beer?
That was a decent half. Yeah, I'll have a pint of the black stuff, please.
Well, actually, I've got some...
I know what I like, mate.
There you go, mate.
What's this, mate?
Black Art.
I told you what I like.
But what if it's better? Cheers.
Yeah. It is. Sorry, let me go again. Sorry, let's go again. I told you, I know what... Oh, that's great. That was great.
Let's bring up the other fly half, Finn Smith. We were at Worcester together. How old was Finn when you first met him?
When I first met him, he'd have been... So his birthday's late in the year, so he was 18 when he came through. I think he's three years below me, or 4 years, but he's 22. Yeah, 3 years below me. So he came through 18, I was 21, and I was out injured at the time. I'd done like I think I tore my hammy, and he just came through and like all of a sudden, just out of nowhere, just was basically starting for us. And I was kind of like young lad, like there's a lot of pressure, but then he just seemed to take it in his stride, and he grew into like this kind of mold of someone where you could look at him and be like, I think he's going to be a really good player. And then obviously Worcester collapsed. Capitulated, and then he obviously went over to Northampton, and there he just thrived. In his first season, he was getting literally like MOM most games, and then the year after they beat us in the final. So he's just gone from strength to strength, really. I think his personality and character, like, he's a really confident bloke. He doesn't go around shying away from things, which I think is huge. And like I said, with 10, sometimes you can be really good in attack and not great in defence. But with him, he kind of has both ends of the spectrum. The way I think he was our top tackler last weekend for Scotland. So I think that says a bit about him as a bloke.
Yeah, but I hope he's also given it to his back rowers and said, fucking cheers, lads. Like, I don't mind making shots, but any fucking chance. Do you know what I mean? You pick a back row and obviously Willis went off, so you ended up with both Currys and Ben Earl as your back row. I'll be like, lads, you're meant to cover the ground really quick. Like, can you fucking make a shot for me, you bastards? I hope they brought him a drink this week in York, mate. I hope they brought him a pint and a couple of ice packs for his shoulders. Is there still a Worcester group chat going? You, Finn, Ted Hill, all tearing up, to be fair.
We do, there was like a big one, like I think it's still called Worcester Liquidation Party, coming from when the last party we had before the club actually finished and then we no longer.
It's good work.
So like occasionally like stuff's been sent in there, whether it's like physios have had kids or boys have made like caps, made their debuts and stuff like that, which is quite cool. So yeah, it's nice to kind of catch up with them. I haven't been back to Worcester for a while yet, but I'm still in touch with quite a lot of the boys, which is quite nice.
Speaking of socials, we had Ollie Chesnam on the pod last week, and he's fuming that he's been replaced on the sort of social committee, but he wouldn't say who he's been replaced by. So could you let us know who's now in charge of the social team?
Because I know Elliot's definitely involved in the social committee. I think Mitch is, and then I want to say maybe Ben Earl. I think it's those three. I think maybe they're taking Ches out for Ben Earl, because Ben Earl organised like our little, like we went to a place in London after the game on Saturday, and he organised that. So whether he's like kind of working with Elliot to do the stuff, and then Mitch is kind of just throwing his 50 pence in now and again. But yeah, I think those are the main three. So maybe he's been replaced by Ben Earl. I'm gonna have to ask that question when I go into camp now on Monday.
Did you have any socials in York, mate? Because like when I think back to 2010 and our fallow weeks, Coley, oh my God, it was like a Barbars week, like totally unprofessional but genius. And then I think back to like some of the ones, like later ones, and I think of were you there, Coley? We did like we did one in Oxford one time. We did another one somewhere else. Like, mate, they used to end up just being an absolute fucking stag do for a week. It used to be class.
My first one was Oxford in like 2010, and we turned up and it was like, I think we had like Monday, Tuesday off, and I think we turned up on the Wednesday, but like half the senior boys had turned up on the Tuesday. It's like, oh yeah, got to travel, it's going to be a big travel in the morning, but basically just gone on the piss. And so we all turned up like Wednesday morning, and they just were hungover and stunk. It was just like, and it was like, oh yeah, we've sorted it as well. We're going to do a light bit of training today. Then we're out on a meal. We're going to fucking do a pub crawl. It literally was like,
sounds great.
Not the most professional of things.
It was so far off professionalism.
They've changed a bit.
So that was mine and Coley's a little snippet of our fallow weeks. So how was York, mate? Because obviously it's not somewhere that traditionally England have ever really gone. So how was your experience of York?
I mean, yeah, it was all right. We did it last year as well. Luckily, the weather was better this year. Last year, it was freezing and it was like absolutely tipping it down. So that wasn't fun. But this year, we went up on the Wednesday, and we actually did like a cookery school thing as a team. So we did our preview meeting beforehand, and then there's like a cookery school downstairs. So we went down and like made our own food, which Dickie wasn't too happy about, because he was like, I've driven 5.5, 6 hours on a train to get here, and now I've got to make my own dinner. So he was livid, but it was actually good crack. Like, we were in groups, and then there's like an actual chef who was at the top, showed us like how to basically make this meal, and then we all did it in our pairs, which was quite nice. And then Thursday we went over to the kind of like, it's like a community centre. So they have like a gym, and obviously the rugby pitch is there. And then we did what did we even have? I think the forwards maybe had a bike, but we only had gym, and then on field we did a bit of attack. And then Friday we same power session in the morning, and then we had a big session in the afternoon. But like this week our big focus was around our attack, and especially off our kick return stuff. Obviously heading into these last 2 weeks, we know that we need to win 2 games, and probably with 5 points to be able to even have a sniff at the title. Yeah, that was our big focus for this week, was our attack, and how many times can we get behind the ball and start shifting the ball to space. And So that was good.
Yeah, I remember we were in York last year and we had a massive attendance because we played at the sort of stadium there, and there was loads of people turned up, and we thought we were in there. But 50% of them, in fact, I'd say more than that, were there for Kev Simfield.
Yeah, we were in like the cafeteria in the morning as a backs group having meetings, and like everyone just kept going over and be like, "Oh, do you mind if we can have a photo, Kev? Kev, do you mind if we have a photo?" And we're just there as players, like, "Oh, this guy is an absolute legend. He's actually a legend." They love him up there. Fair play. And to be fair, there was like 7,000 or 8,000 people again there, so it was quite cool to train in front of all the young lads and people that came to watch, but up in the north.
You say they love Kev, which they do, and everyone loves Kev. But that's also where the Dan Cole fan club photo was taken, was it not? Was that not in York, Coley?
It was indeed.
Were they there again, Ol?
Yeah.
Were they there?
I didn't actually see them this time. I think maybe they were hoping to see you, but they knew you might have just, decided to have this week off. So I don't think they were there.
Or if they moved on. Moved on already. They're like, we've got a load of bald caps. Who can we... It's now the Steve Borthwick and Joe Alabt fan club. They've just moved on. They get the money's worth out of the ball caps.
Oh, when you obviously say you've obviously been working on the attack stuff, who within training, who are the guys that really drive that? Because a lot of people from the outside often think the coaches drive it. And yeah, they give you the framework and everything like that. But really, when you're in the heat of training, it's coming from the directions coming from the guys playing, the drivers within the team. So who's sort of really driving that attacking stuff? Is it both the Smiths? Is it Fordy? Is it yourself? Who's proper going after it?
I think I'd say that mainly it's our kid Fordy, Marcus and Finn. I'd say those are the three really that are proper I'd say challenging the boys at times. If we're slightly off it or if we're demanding more, I think those have been the main figureheads for that. I think especially this week off our kick return stuff, I think Elliot's been a huge addition to that because he was training a bit of 15, and I think he demands a lot from the lads as well, and I think driving high standards like that from the senior boys is huge for us, and I think they've led really well this week, it was one of our best training weeks, and really enjoyed it.
You mentioned there was a huge 2 weeks, and to keep the title alive, obviously we'll see what happens between France and Ireland, and you can only control what you want to do. But does the next 2 weeks, of course, games excite you, but an opportunity to go out there and express yourself and put together a real performance. And when I say performances, we obviously review the games, we talk about them, myself and Coley, we don't always agree. But I tell you what, we've seen snippets where it's looked really good, and I think that's where some of myself, from a viewing point of view, it's I've seen snippets, and I'd love to see him do it for longer. Is that something that you just want to go, right, next 2 weeks, boys, let's put something out there that isn't in 20-minute spells, it's a real performance?
Yeah, 100%. For me, I look at it and think, right, we've got 2 games now. The only way we can possibly win a title is by getting 5 points in both games and scoring points to get a good points difference. So for me, we've like we said, we've shown glimpses of our attack. We've shown glimpses of us being solid in defence. But now we need to go hell for leather at it. Just throw everything at it. We've got too much talent within our squad for it to be wasted in a way that it potentially might have done over the last 18 months. So we're off the back of 2 wins now against 2 teams which we haven't beaten for a while. So although we didn't play great, we should take confidence from that. And then going into this week, I think we've got to just give it everything. Obviously Italy will be hurting. They came off the back of a huge defeat against France, so it's going to be no easy game. But at the same time, I back us to the hills to go out there and start scoring some tries and having some fun with it, because, like I said, it's Test rugby, and it is tough. It's never easy, but we're good enough to be able to put points on teams. But like I said, it's about us having the mindset and the belief to be let's go out there and go and score some tries, and let's not just be happy with playing within 1 score games or just holding a lead. Let's just keep building on it. And I think that's been probably the narrative and the shift this week, a bit more, and been let's try and put as many points on these teams as we can over the last few weeks, because they're coming into their own as well. Italy, they're not the team they were in 5-10 years ago. They're a proper team now, and they can score points, and they can defend well. And like I said, Wales as well, they're off the back of 15 losses in a row, and they played actually really well against Ireland last week. So they're going to be having confidence in that last game as well. So I think for us, we've got nothing to lose. You've done the hard work in the first 3 games. Now you've got to finish it off. And I think the only way we can do that is, like I said, going out there and putting in a proper, complete performance, but actually having some fun with it at the same time and enjoying it.
Well, we're right behind you, mate, and I'd love to see the firepower that England possess in that back line, mate, get more touches. So rooting for you boys to do so, mate. I'll be there cheering you on.
Good man.
I also want to ask you, mate, Sam Underhill is coming to our live show in Bath, right, on the 7th of May. Have you heard him sing before? Because there is no way he's not coming and not getting out his guitar and singing George Ezra, I'll Be Riding Shotgun.
I actually haven't heard him sing. I don't know how I've missed out on this. But that'd be class. Yeah, please do that. That'd be great if you have a guitar in the background.
It's all right,
just
mate.
ready
I'll
for
ping
it.
you over the audio on WhatsApp of him singing when before World Cup camp when one of the lads snuck in and just recorded it. You may get into him because we're expecting big things from Unders on the live show, mate. Because when we're down at Bath, myself and Coley obviously being Leicester through and through. The Bath fans, they might want to hear a bit from us, but really, they're going to want to hear from Unders. So how do you reckon he'll be up for it? Do you reckon he'll do a good job?
Yeah,
Represent Bath well, do you reckon?
100%. He's got it, hasn't he? I mean, he's a legend of the club really now, isn't he? So I think he's him singing on a guitar. I think we'll get the people behind him, and then hopefully flooding as many people through the door.
Who wouldn't want to? If you want to see Unders, of course, talk rugby, but equally sing Coley and arguably butcher a classic, then you can still get your hands on some tickets.
Have we actually got like Underhill contractually signed up? Because I don't.
No, we haven't. He could just drop out last minute, which means you're going to have to whip out a guitar, mate.
Yeah. Oh god, I have to start practicing. I have to learn how to play the guitar for a live show in 2 months' time.
It's more nerve-wracking than a test match, mate, playing in front of a live audience. Here's a guitar, there's the mic, away you go.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So there we are, 7th of May, in Bath. There's not many tickets left, I'll be honest, mate, but there is a few. So, if you want to tell them what a great time they'd have listening to us too, and Underhill, that would be great.
Yeah, for sure, 100%. You need to get yourselves down there, lads. I might make a surprise appearance just to really annoy Unders and make sure I'm there with my phone just like this.
No, we should do that and then be like, get Unders there all revved up and be like, right, and here we are. So our guest for tonight, Ollie Lawrence, and Unders has just stood there in the corner of guitar.
Oh god.
Oh, stitch him right up. Mate, lastly, with obviously Bath playing there last year, obviously we've been talking about England, but I do want to ask you, Bath, last year's final, this year, building something really nicely there, mate. You look like you got a real settled squad and you keep adding. Seems like a good place to be, mate.
Yeah, no, it's class. Like I think I went back in on Monday. I popped in to see the boys and a couple of the coaching staff, and I think instantly just reminded me like how lucky I am to be at such a good club. Like we've got great coaches, great people, and like I said, we're starting to build something pretty cool there. And I love my rugby there. I feel like I've really come on since joining there, and I think everyone's just enjoying the ride. Like I said, we fell short of the line last year, which was frustrating, but also a great motivation for us to try and go one better this season. So, like I think the gaffers kept reminding us we're running our own race. So try not to focus on what's around us. Like we can only control what we can control, which win our home games, which is the most important thing. And then you can put yourself in a good position to go and win with the big trophy at the end, like you boys have done a couple of times. So yeah, it'd be nice to have one of them to talk about.
Exactly right, mate. And what about your vlog, mate?
Yeah, so I started vlogging probably start of this season. It was just, I don't even know why I got into it. I think me and Marcus spoke about it a bit in the summer when we were in New Zealand and in Japan, and we started like doing videos and reels and stuff with Instagram. And then I thought, you know what? It seems like loads of people like seeing what we're doing behind the scenes. So I was just like, right, okay, let's just take people on a tour of the rec. And then I was like, oh, maybe I'll show them pre-game. And then from then on, it's just built on into basically asking fans what they want to see. And then at the same time, I've found it really helpful for me to, when I've finished games, to kind of talk about it, and not just in a media sense of, because when you get asked by journalists after games, like you're already in your head, you're thinking, how do I respond to this, and how do I get away from this question, and give the generic answers of, okay, we're building towards this, or yeah, we're not quite there, but we're pushing for this. And I'm like, yeah. So I just felt like it was a platform where I could use for my own, to give my own opinions of games, of how I played, or what my thinking was behind certain things. And I've quite liked that. It's quite nice to, like I said, talk freely and not actually feel like you have to respond a certain way. Because, like I said, on there and on those platforms, like if people want to give comments and stuff, it's just a comment. Like you don't have to read it, and you don't even see it if you don't want to. But no, I've really enjoyed it. It's been good. Hopefully I can eventually move over to YouTube, but for now I'm just flying on TikTok. Ollie Lawrence 13, if you want to plug in a follow there, lads, and tune in. So that's good. I'm enjoying it. Hopefully I'm not too controversial. But yeah, you can't please everyone, I'm sure, as you guys know. So yeah, that's basically it.
Awesome, mate. Ollie Lawrence 13, check it out. Do you think me and Coley left it too late, mate? We didn't show our personalities till 35 and 37 with the For Love of Rugby. But now look at us, eh? We're flying. Really respected pundits, Coley. The lads love us, especially my views, especially Genji. So we're flying, mate. Do we leave it too late, though, Al?
Yeah, you guys are smashing it. Nah, you guys are smashing it. If you want to go over to the TikTok world, then I think it's good. You just got to make sure it's all algorithm. It's all algorithm. Like, you just need to appear on feeds and stuff. But nah, it's a good little place to just put up snippets of shows and really like capture your audience and get them involved early.
What dance should Coley do for TikTok, mate? Because we have actually got a TikTok account.
Have we?
And what do you recommend the Sheriff should do for TikTok?
I think you should bring back the Rugby World Cup 2023 Stone Cold Steve Austin. I'd like to see that.
Well, he's actually training with a knee pad at the moment.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, and I'm ultimately just as stiff as Stone Cold Steve Austin as well now. I watched this. He had some like reality TV program the other day, and he couldn't get out of his car. Literally like me. Like, I'm just gonna open the window on my car and shout at lads across the field as opposed to actually going over there. This is what I do now.
Mate, thanks so much for joining, mate. Thanks for being so insightful and open, mate. Really appreciate it. Best of luck against Italy, mate, on Sunday. Best of luck for the remainder of the tournament. Keep tearing down trees. And yeah, much appreciated, all. Thank you, mate.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me on. Really appreciate it. Good to chat.